Hey guys, it's me Parker. Welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wicked day. So I ordered 4 new decks and 3 of them came right away. I have to wait quite a while for the 4th one to come in, but I figured why not do like a little mini haul slash unboxing. So we'll go through one by one. I'll pull the cards out, we'll have a look at the decks, I'll kind of let you know what I think of them, first impression. We'll do a couple shufflings. So in this mini haul, there's one tarot deck, the Good Tarot, and then there's 2 Oracle decks. So we'll start with the tarot deck. It's the Good Tarot by Colette Baron-Reid, illustrations by Jana Della Grotteglia. I'm sure I am totally butchering that. I'm so sorry. So let's open it up. Unfortunately, the package that these two came in, someone else accidentally opened it, like they didn't know I was gonna do an unboxing, so that's fine. Just means we don't get the part where I take it out of the Amazon bag. So the Good Tarot, I believe San Tarot, S-A-N Tarot, uses this deck. So pretty thick, standard box. Purple inside. The Good Tarot guidebook. Grounded in a divination system that dates back centuries, the Good Tarot has a psychic architecture that's simple and modern. The suits are the 4 elements, and the cards are read as archetypal aspects of the human experience that we may encounter within ourselves or in the world. In this guidebook, you'll explore the card meanings, learn how to interpret and use them, designed to eliminate any situation for the highest good of all. So it does have like kind of a positive take on it. I don't tend to focus purely on positive messages in my channel, but the artistry is really beautiful in this deck from what I've seen of it. So I did go ahead and order it. So a note from the author, her history with tarot, how it works. We're talking about intention. And then we get into the cards, pretty standard. The 22 trumps, so symbolic life themes. So more of an archetype sort of deck and theme. So it just goes through all the different cards. I'm gonna flip to the back. I don't know if it comes with a spread. Readings. Looks like she has some specific messages about different cards in here. Things that she wants to highlight in terms of themes when working with this deck, I'm guessing. Yeah, they're in random order, so things to think about, and then a bit about the artist. Cool, so let's check out the cards themselves. Same purple, pinky inside. Now this is a really big deck. I bought these like wooden boxes for my cards because I used to have them all just laid out on the table, and obviously it's, you know, after you accumulate so many decks, that doesn't really work, and it was a pain like pulling them out and putting them away every time I want to read. I don't think that this is actually going to fit. Is it? Oh my goodness, it just barely fits. It's about the same size as the Angel deck. Actually a little, yeah, about almost identical, just a little bit wider, but not by much, like a fraction of, maybe almost exactly the same size actually. So, okay, that's good. I was concerned it wasn't gonna fit. Not that it's a huge problem, but it just means I have to keep it out on the table. So there's the back. Should have set up the lighting a little bit better. Maybe I can bring my light closer, you guys. So there's the back. So from the start, we have Fool, Magician, Empress. Oh, there's my baby. Hopefully she doesn't wake up. Emperor. That is a beautiful Hierophant and a feminine depiction, which is a little bit different. Love. Interesting. Another feminine depiction on the Chariot. Strength. And it's interesting to me that we have these two together on 2 cards. That's kind of nice. To me, that's kind of speaking about the relationship between the Empress and the Lion that we typically see in tarot as lovers. But that's interesting. Hermit. Fortune's Wheel. Hangman. Beautiful. I love that card. Very nice. Transformation. Patience. And obviously I didn't read the book, so I'm not like too well versed right now in the specific meanings that the author intended for this book. Temptation. Tower. Star. I'm just going to go over the major arcana as well, because I'll probably do an overview for these decks, and we have 3 to get to today, so I don't want this video to be like 2 hours long. Call. Interesting. I like that. World. And then we get into the air signs. Really beautiful card depictions. I know it's not like a spiritual oracle deck, but it's weird that I put the Chariot out on its own like that. The depictions to me are highly spiritual. Like when I read, I get a lot of my intuitive messages from the artwork itself. So I'm sure as I work through this deck, this artwork will speak to me. I know I said that I was going, you know what, it's okay. I was debating whether I should shuffle it, because I want to go through the meanings in the book one by one, but for the purpose of the unboxing, I will just do a shuffle. So, quite stiff. The way I shuffle, I pull the cards back like this and shuffle that way. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. But for me, I probably will spend some time working in these cards to get them to shuffle the way that I want to. In terms of the quality of the deck, I do like the finish on them. It is quite shiny, so for those that prefer matte decks, it does have a shiny finish on it. You can see my light there. It has a really similar quality to my Angel deck, maybe slightly less thick. So we'll see how it holds up over time. Because it is so big, once it's worked in, it will be fairly easy to shuffle, so it probably won't break down as quickly as some of my other cards. So yeah, interesting. I like it. I really like the artwork. I do think that it just depends on your preference. Do you like bigger decks, right? For me, I'm fine with a bigger deck, especially knowing it fits in my little card thing that I made. I like it. When I do my deck overview of this, eventually I will talk about how the cards have stood up over time. It doesn't feel cheap. It just feels like if you have a deck like this, you know what I mean. It's got like that really slick finish to it. It feels quite cardboardy, but it's not super thin. A little tricky to get back in the box, but it's not too bad. Overall, very nice. I like it. So this one is the Starseed Oracle. I got this one, so Rebecca Campbell, artwork by Danielle Knoll, just a little bit less of a mouthful than the Good Tarot. I got this one because I don't really have many decks that are highly spiritual. Most of my decks, I only have a handful of Oracle decks to begin with. I think the closest that I have to like a highly spiritual deck would probably be the Unknown Animal series by Kim Kranz. So I wanted something that I can pull out when I do a reading where I can tell that there's like more like highly spiritual energy going on in the reading. This has a very, very unique box. Like super, super unique. Obviously, I really like that. Pyramids to me are like a highly spiritual shape, of course. You know, don't want to sound stereotypical, but it's true, especially to me, but that's like a really long story I'm not going to get into right now. So the book is at the back, which is kind of neat. Usually when you open up a tarot box, the book is right front and center. It's actually at the back in this one. So we'll kind of flip through. We do have a table of contents. I forgot to note whether they had that at the beginning of the Good Tarot book or not. So welcome, talking about belief systems, ancient star origins, of course. What is a starseed? If you're feeling called to look up that kind of information, this deck might be good just to get, and then you can kind of explore it that way if you feel so inclined to that sort of knowledge. Your heart is a portal. Attunement, reading for yourself and others. Using the box as technology. That's so funny. I was just talking about the pyramid shape of the box itself. Very interesting. So oh, you can use the, okay, I get ya. That's neat. I like that. Maybe I'll use the box in readings, like if I do my thumbnails. That's really interesting. Or like if you're doing a reading, you could have like a central theme here, like a main card that you pulled, and then have it displayed like in the middle kind of thing, prominent. That's kind of neat. I like that. This one, oh, you can use, interesting. So there's ways that you can use the box itself for different spreads. Interesting. That's really neat. I don't actually do spreads at all. Like, I think the last time I tried a spread was like years and years and years ago when I was just learning how to do tarot. And then when I took a long break from it, many years, and then I came back to it, and I think I attempted to do a few spreads when I came back to it, but typically I just let whatever comes out. I think I will actually try the spreads that come with this box and this deck to see what this deck and the box itself like feels very much a part of the deck. I know that they are, but it feels just different with this deck. I'm not sure how to explain it, but I feel like some powerful messages could come through in utilizing the system that they had intended for this deck. Like a personal message to come through if I were to do a reading for myself. So I probably actually will utilize those readings, which is saying a lot because I don't actually, but they seem like would be powerful, is just kind of what I'm getting from that. So messages, interpretations, honing in on starseed aligned questions as well as the meanings. So one by one, go through. Definitely this is a deck that I'm going to say, yes, the cards do have meanings on the bottom, but I would not use this deck without having read the book first. For sure is what I'm going to say on that one. Like, you always should read the book, because often there are messages that are intended solely for that deck within the book, but with this one I feel I would have to. Like, obviously it's an oracle deck, so duh, like, not to sound redundant, but like, for sure I wouldn't want to just necessarily pick it up and go off what the cards say, even though they do have meanings on the bottom. I'm also really, really digging the pastel vibe on this deck. I really like the colors. The kind of sky blue and pink. It's like reminiscent of a galaxy somewhat. It's like sort of sunset, but like universal star colors, if that makes any sense. I really like it. So the first thing that sticks out to me is my deck has a bit of a curvature like this, kind of curving inward. Again, I would definitely have to work these cards in. My deck is wanting to go straight to a card. Star Ancestors. Hidden Secrets, Lost Wisdom, Look a Little Deeper. Interesting. There's those pyramids. I can tell right away I'm gonna vibe with this deck. That's so funny and random. Like, I don't think that the makers of this deck intended for it to be like that. It's just, if you look at it, there's like a slight separation in the deck going straight to that pyramid energy that I was just talking about, that I was picking up on with the box. So can't wait to work with this. I can already tell I'm gonna love this deck and get some really interesting messages from here. The second thing that sticks out to me is this one has a different finish on it. So if any of you guys work with the Moonology Oracle deck, very similar, same size as well, very, very similar. I would be like surprised actually if these weren't printed by the same company, like our publisher. They're very similar. It's hard to pick up on camera. My camera's beside me, so it's hard to see kind of, the angle's awkward for catching the light and stuff. But they have that same sheen, that same slightly shiny sheen on the back, and then the finish on the front is a little more matte. Exact same finish on them. Exactly the same. So if you work with the Moonology deck, I know a lot of readers have this deck. It's exactly the same for the finish. Same size, same finish. Which, this deck I have had for a long time, like a few years, and it has held up really well. And one of the reasons for that is it has a little bit less cards in it than a standard deck. So if you look at these ones, the Starseed Oracle has more cards in it. I think that's why this one has held up so well over time, because when I shuffle it, it's easy to go one by one, and there's not a lot of cards, so it's easier to shuffle. Now this deck isn't like super huge. I believe the Good Tarot was thicker than this, but it just might mean that I might get more catch on my cards, like more wear and tear over time. This one, I'm not going to shuffle it because I just shuffled this one. It's exactly the same. I do want to go through this one by one, straight out of the box, and read the cards that way, but I will show you some of the cards. Again, I can see myself really liking this deck, so I'm sure that I will be doing an overview of this deck as well, eventually on the channel. Activated Earth, All Paths Lead Home, Baby Steps. Ooh, I love the holographic like kind of sheen. It's hard to see in the camera, but it's like, you know, the sheen that like bubbles get on them? It looks like that. Big picture thinking. The Blue Flame. Breath of the Cosmos. Called. Child of the Cosmos. What a beautiful, beautiful card that is. The Cosmic Heart. The Courageous Peony. That stuck out to me in the book. I don't know how much they focus on that in here, if it was just something that I caught. Peony vibes. That's funny. I can't wait to read these cards because I'm already getting messages just looking at them. Like, if you think of a peony, they have to be like a certain depth down in the dirt to blossom. And the Courageous Peony, multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. A message about individualism. What a perfect flower, like bush, or, you know, to pick for that. So I'm interested in this deck for sure. Hopefully I'll be able to use it soon. Maybe not for this round of readings that I'm doing next, but possibly. We'll see. Double Mission. Earth Pulsing. And then it seems to be a grouping of Earth cards. So I'm kind of thinking that, okay, this deck has a flow to it, where it's moving from, like, at the beginning we were talking about like this very cosmic cosmos, called cosmos, flowing through to earth energy, and then at the back there's that star ancestor, you're not for everyone. So it seems like weight of the world, star family, so that's like expensive, right? So it seems to me, I'll have to read the book, but just from what I'm gathering so far, this is like individual calling, like, you know, your energy connecting to earth energy and then beyond. That's kind of what I'm seeing from the themes as I'm flipping through the cards. I could be wrong, but that's just kind of what I'm picking up on. I still can't get over that, the pyramid thing. That was too cool. I can't wait to get to know this deck. My only thing is, the deck does have that slight curve inward, so I am going to have to work this deck in. I typically sometimes when cards come, depending on how easy they are to shuffle right off the bat, right? That's not too bad, actually. I might not have to work it in too much. I might not have to work it in too much. I might be able to just start shuffling and not bend the crap out of it. We'll see. With that, it kind of just feels like the deck forming to me. Like I'm gonna get to know the deck, right? Like, I feel like at any of my decks, they all have that crazy bend at the top. It's kind of helpful because I can actually tell if like some of my cards are upside down when I'm prepping the decks and stuff. Yeah. Excited. This is gorgeous. I wasn't expecting actually to connect with it so much right off the bat like that. So very nice. Can't wait to get into this one and read all the meanings and start incorporating that into the readings. Very nice. So the last one. So I screwed up, you guys, when I ordered this. So I did rip the top off just before we start the reading, just for convenience while I'm filming, so I'm not like struggling with it. I couldn't find a pair of scissors, but I'm rambling. So I ordered this deck and I was like, oh, $9, that's such a good deal. I ordered the pocket size by accident. So whoops. It's actually not too pocket size, but I think the normal version of this is much closer to this in size. So compared to my other pocket size deck that I have, it's actually not too bad. Like, it's quite a bit bigger. It's not too bad. It's not too pocket size, but I definitely messed up. So I am going to link the decks below. I will link the one that I bought because I can't attest to any of the other versions on there, but I did see a version on Amazon that was more like $23 or something like that. And I probably should have either double checked the dimensions or just realized that like that is way too good to be true. That's okay. Everything happens for a reason, right? But it is the Romance Angel Oracle cards. I got this one because when super specifically romantic messages come in, I just want to be able to get more straightforward and specific messages. Kind of like why I got the Starseed Oracle for like spiritual messages. I got this one to be able to do the same thing for romance. And here I am struggling to open it. I'm so bad for that, you guys. Hence why I pre-ripped the Amazon package. This one's holographic. Is it just me, or is that like a thing with mini decks? Maybe where they re-release them in like a holographic version. It might be very hard to see the cards. We'll see. A lot of readers do use this deck though. So I would be surprised if you guys that are watching this regularly watch readings and you haven't seen this deck in use. I would be surprised because it is extremely, extremely common. It is holographic. I do like it, and it's a nice twist right off the bat. So the back has a different finish than the front, very similar to this. It is a little thinner, but it's also a mini deck, so that's kind of to be expected. Now, this one did not come with a book. So I would hazard a guess that if you buy the regularly sized deck that it would come with a book. I'm not sure. So my apologies there. With that being said, because I do not have a book, I'm just going to go ahead and start using this deck. I don't have a book to read, so I can go ahead and just start incorporating it into my readings. Of course, I'll go through, I'll have a look at and connect with all the cards before I start, but that doesn't take very long. So I will probably start pulling these out right away in readings that seem to have a romance-heavy connotation. So reconciliation, someone from your past is returning to your life. And they are quite thin. But again, I'm guessing if they were the regularly sized deck, they would have a finish much similar to this, but I can't say that for sure. I just know that this pocket version is quite thin. Is quite thin. Now, being that there is no book for this, I am going to go ahead and shuffle it. We'll look at a couple of the cards. Holographic is harder to pick up on the camera, but we have reconciliation, release your ex, separation, make the effort, engagement, a higher level of commitment, it is safe for you to love, calling in your soulmate, give your relationship a chance, codependency, very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. And I'm not saying that I would have to use these for a romance reading, because some of these messages like codependency, attraction, free yourself, playfulness, like that is, you know, not as finances and career. It doesn't have to be romance, but there are cards that hold kind of a clear message for a romance geared reading. So that's why I wanted this deck. I'm gonna give it a shuffle. I want to see how similar it is to my other mini deck. That is nice. I like it. I like the finish on them. I like the way that they push back together, if you guys can hear that. The cards kind of catch on each other. I really like that. It's nice. Yeah. You deserve love. You are lovable. Don't we all? Very nice. I do like this deck, the way it's shuffling. I don't mind that it's a mini deck. It's kind of an in-between, like I said. It's not as small as this one. However, the holographic is just a little bit harder to pick up on the camera sometimes, but that's okay. So, very nice. I'm gonna just read the prices to you. I know this one for sure was like $8.93 Canadian. I'm in Canada, you guys. And I will link the decks down below. These two were both around $30. Now, this right here is kind of a pain. It is hard to put back into the box, so buyer beware on that one. It is like pretty tricky to get the box closed back up, so I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna play with it and like feed it back into my other cards here. Starseed Oracle, $33.99 Canadian, $24.99 US. The Good Tarot, $35.99 Canadian, $26.99 US. Now, the Good Tarot is more expensive, but it is a full standard tarot deck. It has 78 cards in it. The Starseed Oracle has 53. It's a little bit less, of course, so, you know, but also beautiful artwork. I would say out of everything that I got, this one is my favorite, for sure, as you guys can tell. You know, it's obvious that I connected with this one the most, but they're all unique in their own way. So I'm gonna leave it at that, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. You got kind of a little idea of these decks. And when the other deck that I ordered comes in, I might do an unboxing just for that one, because I have no clue where it's coming from, but it's gonna take a really long time to get here, and I think I read that it's a handcrafted deck, so I might do an unboxing just for that one. But yeah, I will hopefully have an overview for these decks at some time in the near future, so we can go through card by card once I've gotten to know them better. I've read the books, all that. So I'm gonna leave that at that, you guys. Have an awesome day. Until I catch you next time, take care.